Dragon Age and Mass Effect veteran says he looked at Palworld to reverse the fortunes of his survival game. Ali Jones over at Games Radar. Survival game hits Palworld and Enshrouded. Dude, we checked out Enshrouded here on the team. It's a fantastic game. Dude, it is a sick game. Absolutely. Help shape the major upcoming update to Dragon Age Mass Effect veterans Arryn Flynn's own survival game, Nightingale. Dude, I felt like Nightingale was a flash in the pan. It was gone because it got overshadowed by Palworld and Enshrouded. Here we are. Nightingale launched in February just as a suite of other survival games were jousting for attention in the genre at Palworld, Enshrouded, and V Rising. Dude, another shout out to V Rising. It's a very cool game. We're just some of the glut of games that launched around the same time as Nightingale. And Flynn maintains that was still a benefit for Nightingale. Speaking to Games Radar, he said that his previous assertion that a rise in genre releases would be a benefit of his game were still true. Quote, I think we did get a rising tide lifts all boats, end quote. I think we did get an additional visibility because of that. But while Palworld and Enshrouded found larger audiences, Nightingale struggled. Flynn thinks that might have been the result of being the earliest of the early access versions of those games. And that's on us and on me in terms of prioritizing and helping to build Nightingale. With a major update on the horizon, Flynn says that, quote, if I could go back in time and deliver this updated version of Nightingale back in February, I would, end quote. He also, however, says that this update has been shaped in part by the success of those other games, telling PC Gamer that his studio, quote, went through Enshrouded, Palworld, V Rising, end quote, to access player perception. He found that, quote, it was really the structure that stood out as something they offered that they were not offering. Players told us that they wanted to be creative and wanted to explore the limits of the building system, but those limits were too small, too narrow, end quote. Michael, dude, I know you played Palworld.
Yep.
I know you played Palworld. Did you play Enshrouded as well?
I did. I checked out Enshrouded after the sort of the Palworld hype died down. Didn't get as far as I wanted. I think everybody in my friend group was kind of survival gamed out, but definitely put a good like 15, 20 hours in. And I thought that game was also a ton of fun, as you said. I absolutely enjoyed the heck out of it. But I feel like we've got a little bit of sour grapes going on here, right? True. It feels like maybe it's like, oh, our game was just as good. I promise that it was, helped out by those games. But also, I want to go back in time and deliver an update that took us 7 months in February. So,
yeah,
a little odd there. But you and I talk about this all the time. For every single game, right, when release dates come out, you've got to know other games coming out around you, how that affects you. And this feels like a prime example, right? Not sure if maybe Nightingale got caught off guard with Palworld and Enshrouded. I wasn't completely following release dates, so I'm not sure how that went. But this feels like, as we talk about all the time, you got to look at the calendar and say, okay, if this comes out this day, this comes out this day, where do we put our game so it doesn't get swallowed up like Nightingale did?
No, absolutely, right? Nightingale Realms Rebuilt is set to launch soon, 6 months after the original launch. Dude, this would have been there day one. This could have been a different conversation, right? Maybe they really could have been competitive with Palworld and Enshrouded. Enshrouded continues to do updates. We're talking about Palworld later on in the show, right? They're just continuing to grow. It's one of those things. How do you keep it going? What do you want to do next? Dude, I always thought Nightingale looked cool. I like the idea that you disappear, you go into this realm, gather up your stuff, come back, and then you start building. Sounds like the building mechanic, though, isn't as complex, because I haven't played it, so I don't really know. I can't speak for myself. But from what they're talking about here and how it's going, is that the players want to be way more creative. And dude, Enshrouded offers that limitlessly. Like when I jumped into Enshrouded, I just got lost in the building. I go out, gather resources, come back, and I spent days building this thing. And now if you take a look at the community, oh my God, dude, you should see some of the stuff that they have built. It is jaw-dropping. It's incredible to see how creative people can get when they have the time to dedicate to actually building out these worlds, these cities, these locations that they get into, right? And it doesn't sound like Nightingale offers all that. So maybe this Realms Rebuilt edition, this update, is going to hopefully factor into that and let that community thrive in being creative. Dude, I'm definitely curious. I wouldn't mind checking it out myself. It would be nice to see what the difference is, right? I want to go in. I think it's a cool world. Survivability is definitely the thing there. And then to come back and then rebuild things. I'm always such a sucker for that. Go out, loot, craft, build, come out, just rinse, repeat. I just love it. And if you hang out with friends and do it all at the same time, yo, I'm always down, man.